Well, good evening. The Who's today were on at Rosehill, haven't raced there for a while, or since Golden Slipper Day, and the track was good. The rail was in the normal position, and the track played very fair. You could be up near the lead. Um, did an actual leader win on the fence? Yes, it did. The second race, Oompa Loompa, it went straight to the lead, stayed on the 18 pence, led all the way, and there were runners that came from well back in the field. Waller, Chris Waller, well, his horses are just they're going like supercharged jets. They just take off. He won 5 of the 8 races there today, and gave the captains a couple of good results. But his horses at the moment, well, all this season, the riders, they just press the button, and there's another gear there. They absolutely fly. They find the winning post very strongly. The first race, there was 102.1 on the screen. A couple less, neat 100 in the marketplace, was won by the Avery Drago. He missed it, kicked me a couple of lengths. He sat back. He had too much on his field as it turned out. He won by 4 lengths. Did see $1.55 on the fence at one stage. Best luck was $1.50, and as I say, there was a number 2. There was plenty. There was $4.60 about number 2 in the race. Ideal Guide, who led and finished up running second, but was 4 lengths away. The winner trotted him. That's about all you'd say there. Run the race again, over again. It started at $1.40. No, it started at $1. It's $1.40. Very hard to get. It was the 2 on, and the 9 to 4 on were laid on, and it was hard to get the 5 to 2 on at the close of betting. The second race, and as I said, this leader, and this was the only leader I think to win all day, Oompa Loompa, and it was a good result for the captains. In this race, they said there was 107 figures on a couple of races. What, you won't believe it. I couldn't believe it, especially the last. Even this race here, they said there was 107.7 on the screen, 104.5 only in the marketplace. Oompa Loompa opened up $9, got out to 14, came back into $13. Started a 12 to 1 chance, and as I say, it led and was able to hang on and just win from the very, very unlucky, relaxed and happy. It was $5 out to $6, back into $5 at one stage, back out to $6, believe it or not, but back into $5.50, fairly hard to get at the end of betting. And when the gates opened, it missed a kick by a length and a half, and and settled down in last position on the fence. And after easing off heels, turning for home, trying to get a run in between runners, his momentum was taken from him, and it took him, it seemed, a long time to get clear in between horses. When he did, he found the line very strongly, only beaten a half a length. Forget about missing the kick at the start. He only had to get a run turning for home. It was Waller again, so you can more or less say that Waller should have won 6 of the 8 races, which would have been a very big performance. If he, as I say, forget about missing a kick by a length and a half. He only had to get a clear run turning for home. Nippy Nash was aboard. This runner would have won very, very easily. It got trapped wide in the run Harada Bay, so its run was a little bit better than it looked, and it had a time getting clear in the run as well. Gullible, it never got clear running in the straight. Finish up finding the line fairly strongly, but without a doubt, the second horse, Relaxed and Happy, should have got the cash. It went fairly ordinary. Amarino, who's going for a spell, and it pulled up with a quartered heel, which obviously didn't help its chances. Race 3, the pace was on here all the way. First of all, the betting, There was 101.7 on the screen, but there was a good 5 less in the marketplace, about 96 only. Well, the top weight here, Anave, they said the best luck was 480. Well, I saw 550, and well, there's a good 3% straight away. Plus, there were a few other runners which were a little bit longer, and it was up near the lead, Anave, trying to cross but couldn't cross. The well-backed Sweet Little Lies, who started $3.20, was $3.20 or $3.30 before the late scratching of at the barrier of Lisa Lost It, who did a lap of the course and was scratched at the barrier. So after the 11 to 1 or 12 to 1 chance was taken out, Lisa Lost It. It started 2 to 1 favourite, Sweet Little Lies, and it jumped well from the inside alley and kept on hunting up on the inside. Wouldn't come back underneath the rider, Schofield, he explained, which was apparent, and it eventually crossed Anave, but they had gone very fast up front, and coming from second last, in between runners, easing off heels, and always finding the line like it does, but generally has a bit of bad luck, or a lot of bad luck most of the time, Urgent Bells. But today was pulled out and was able to get into clear running down the outside, where quite a few runners won today, and it sprinted too well for them, especially coming off the fast pace. And it opened up only a $6.50 chance, Urgent Bells, or even less, about a $6 chance, a 5 to 1 pop, and it got out to $9.50, but came back into around about $8 at the close of betting. And as I say, it ran on and got the chocolates down the outside, winning by maybe a length or a little bit less. It came from second last, having its chance. Nupsy off the fast pace, another runner who gets back and runs on, and sitting just behind the pace, Party Dress having every possible chance. It ran third. As I say, the pace was on there, which suited the winner. Race 4, well, they said there was 108.2 on the screen, only 102 in the marketplace, and this race was won by Richie's Bickies, another Waller runner, and they didn't miss this runner in the marketplace. I had a very, very bad result on this race. It was $15 into $7.50. It was 4 teams to 13 to 2. All the place getters in this race, they were all on the fence. Well, it said outside the lead Queenstown, but leading on the fence, and I thought pulling on a strider and setting a good solid pace all the way was Laser Flash. On its outside, Queenstown. The winner, it was 3 back on the fence, and needed galloping room all the way up the straight, but as I say, it was on the fence. And the 4th horse, Island's Teardrop, well, of course, it was back in the field, and it saved ground on the fence, getting off heels, coming down the outside, getting into 4th hole. So all of the first 4 place getters all had fairly good runs near the fence. The winner, it was never going to win until the last 3 strides, when it was able to get around the heels of the 2 leaders and get more or less plenty of galloping room. It didn't really want to stretch out when it was in behind runners all the way up the straight, but when it got that extra little bit of galloping room, it stretched out a little bit too well for the 2 runners that were leading and grabbed them right on the line. The margins were 0.2 by 0.3 of a length. Plenty of runners crossed the line together here. Running this race again, you would most certainly get a different result nearly every time you ran it all. If you ran this race 5 over 5 times, there's a good chance you would get 5 different results. It made up plenty of ground. Remorse, who was well backed, it settled down in last position, was eased out from a wide outside alley at the start to find the fence in last position, and it made up plenty of ground along the fence as well. It was 50s into 30s. There were a few other runners back who started favourite in the race. Laser Flash, I think they might have only returned at $4.20. I think I was $4.40, or might have even been $4.60 when they jumped, trying to lay it, but it wasn't. There wasn't much section for it towards the end of betting. Another runner that you mightn't see in the flux was Celtic Prince. There was plenty of $6 at the close of betting, and I think $5.50 was the best you saw in the flux screen. And as I say, there was $6 about it, plenty of it. But the winner, I think it was, well, it would have had to have been, was very hard to dodge if you were a Captain Cookie out there today. 15s into 13 to 2. They took the 15, they took the $14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and then they butted up and they took the $8.50 and the $8 close towards the end of betting. Very bad result. Race 5, we saw another Waller winner here in index linked. This one like a jet-propelled supersonic jet. They announced that it was going to be ridden from behind, and when I heard that, I stood this runner for a little bit more. It drew the outside alley, and when they jumped, Father Schofield was the postilion aboard, and he eased it out to the tail of the field. Well, he settled down in third last position off the fence, and when they turned for home, he just eased off heels, gave this runner plenty of galloping room, and it just trotted in. It won by 3.5 lengths. We put it up a $2.80 chance. First of all, in the marketplace, they said there was 109.2, and I think there was only about 2% less in the marketplace. We had about 7% positive figures, very unusual for Sydney on a Saturday. We had about 107, but the winner was extremely well backed. Put up a $2.80 chance, got out to $3, and then right towards the end of betting, the $3, well, it was taken halfway through the betting. $2.90 was taken, $2.80 was taken, and right towards the end of betting, if you had up $2.70, well, they how much you, and it started a 13 to 8 chance, about $2.60 favourite. The second pick, Waikiki Gold, who looked at the leader all the way. It led Del Zero. It's not very big, Del Zero, and it only held on ordinary. They did run along. The second pick, as I say, Waikiki Gold, it went up a $4.80 chance, 4.60, same thing. Got out to $5.50, was back into $5 at one stage, but got back out to, well, came into about a $4.60 chance, the second pick, but got back out to $5 towards the end of betting. It struggled into third hole. It looked at the leader, Del Zero, all the way, but this winner, if they put the betting up again and after the last and ran this race again, I dare say this would be a 5 to 2 on chance. The way it won index link, it absolutely trotted in. Running second in the race was Monsieur, stablemate to the winner, Waller getting a Quinella. I think he had a Quinella in a couple of other races as well. But it was beaten 3.5 lengths. It sat in a cosy fifth position, getting a lovely run. The first 5 runners in this race at one stage around about the 1,000-metre mark, they were a good 3 lengths in front of the rest of the field. So this winner has come from well back and won, like, as I say, a 5 to 2 on chance. I wish they would, if they ran this race again, you wouldn't be able to get on it. Race 6, who won this race? Oh, it happened to be another Waller runner. And again, this runner, when Nash finally got clear on Moriarty, this runner just sprinted up, and he was in an awkward position and got past the leader, Zonza, who ran an improved race from his start the other day at the standalone meeting at Hawkesbury. They said on the screen there was 107.5, but there was a good 5 plus less in the marketplace. Well, one runner I can see straight away is the winner, Moriarty. There was $5.50 given about this runner. It only started $4. It started $4 favourite. I think the best luck was $4.80, but you could have got as much as $5.50 about Moriarty. And when they jumped, it was eased back where it was from the extreme outside alley back to last position on the fence with Nippy Nash aboard. When they turned for home, he eased off heels, looking for splits. The split didn't come until about the 200-metre mark, when he was sort of trying to shoulder his way clear, but he sort of half nudged a runner on its outside. When he did get galloping room, Nash sat down, he crouched down very low in the saddle, gave it a couple of digs, got the pushed the button on Moriarty, and Moriarty, by this time, of course, the leader, Zonza, had got well, when I say well clear, had got about a 2.5 length break on Permit, a stablemate to the winner. But Moriarty, as I say, once got clear, when he got clear, it just went out after the leader, and he finished up beating it by 1.3 lengths. And coming down the outside from well back into third hole was Strike the Stars, but more or less having its chance. It was 3.6 lengths away. Again, if you ran this race again, the winner would be a lot shorter than the starting price, let alone the $5.50 that was on offer. It more or less won like a 6-4 chance, or even less, because of the time it took getting clear, being held up. I haven't repriced them yet, but just off the top of my head, it looks like a 6-4 chance or even less. There were a couple of other runners in that race that had minor interference, but the winner was far too good. Race 7, they said there was 110 on the screen, and which is fat for steak and kidney of a Saturday, but there was only about 3 less in the marketplace, about 107%. Who won this race? I didn't give this one a much chance. I didn't mark it much longer than what we bet. I had marked it 16-1, and we bet 15. Well, I bet $15, 14-1, and I didn't like it at all. And it sat second, leading in this race. You knew it was always going to be up near the lead, Hidden Warrior. I thought there'd be a bit more pressure, and it would give in. It went straight to the lead, Yukon Bean, and ran along at a fairly good tempo. And looking at it all the way, was the winner, Hidden Warrior. And a lot of the fancied runners, well, a lot of the other runners in this race that were well backed, especially the second horse, well, it sat in fifth position. Balvan had a good run. It finished up running second. Only got 0.3, beaten 0.3 in length. What am I talking about? The other fancy runners were there. Snitsky, who started the $4.60 favourite, $5 into $4 at one stage, back out to $4.40 or $4.60 to finish. It sat third on the fence. On its outside was Under the Sun, the $6 chance. It opened up at $4.60, got out to as much as $6, back into about $5.50 Under the Sun, had every possible chance. And so the favoured runners were all up near the lead. It finished up holding on too well, Hidden Warrior. It beat the very well backed Balavan. It was $9 into $6 by 0.3 of a length. It more or less had its chance. At the 100-metre mark, I thought I had laid Balavan, had laid the winner. Both were losers for me for about the same amount, so it didn't matter. And I said, well, Balavan will finish up getting this, but it didn't. Hidden Warrior held on. The Snitsky, who had every possible chance just behind the pace from barrier 1, it ran third. Coming from last on the fence, right along the fence was Destiny's Kiss, who copped a check right on the line, that more or less had his chance. It made up a lot of ground, and running fifth in the race, also having every possible chance, was Under the Sun, who got the favours last start, of course, on the when the track swung around at Randwick, when it had an inside run, and it had every chance again today. The winner, it fought on a little bit too well. I don't know whether the form out of that race is going to be very, very good or not. I suggest it wouldn't be. Race 8. Now, you have to take a picture of this. I can't believe it. Well, the reason I suppose we did have good figures here in a few races here today were, and especially when the field's a little bit bigger, were that there were very few players. There wasn't much section there today, and we had a lot of sightseers and not many grumble and grunters in the ring who were actually punting. And on the screen it said a fat 119.2. You never ever see that, and must admit there was only about 5% less, about 114 in the marketplace. These were the flux. Stratana went from 31 out to 61. Falzon went from 21 out to 31 back to 26. Big Bonanza was $8 out to $9 back into $8. Brian's Honour, by the same token, a lot of these runners, they didn't have prices. It was $17, a 16 to 1 chance out to 41. Combat Kitty was 16 to 1 chance out to $26. Key West went from $8 out to 11. Infinite Energy, who missed the kick, but I don't think it would have won coming out of the barrier. It was $4.60 out to $5 back into $4.60. Happy Huzzy went from an $8 chance out to $9. Curinata went from 41 to 71. Disciple went from always firm in the market around about the $16 chance, never changed, about a 15 to 1 pop. I didn't see 17 on one board. Turf Hero went from 18 to 17 out to about 21. For a Rainy Day went from $4.60 out to $6. Zaba Float was 15 out to 17, back into about 14, hard to get. And then we got down to Rumour and Scandal, who went from 21 out to 31, and War Charm was $9 into about $8 or even $7.50. Plenty of purr in the last, and the runner that stayed very firm in the market, his fluctuations stayed, I'd say, is exactly at its opening quote to its SP, and that was $16 to $16, and that was Disciple. And this was another winner for Waller, and very similar to his winner earlier on, Index, what was it called? Index Linked, as it's an import. This runner, Disciple, when the brilliant Brendan Abdullah pressed the button on this runner was in third last position, Disciple. Up front, running along, was Big Bonanza, who finished up running second, only beaten 0.3 of a length, the neck margin, but it was 4.3 lengths away to the third horse, which was For a Rainy Day, who also made up plenty of ground, but couldn't possibly match it with the winner. When they turned for home, Abdullah, brilliant Abdullah, he just eased this runner off heels in about third last position, gave it galloping room down the outside, the widest runner, pressed that Waller a supercharger, and it just kept on coming down the outside. It made up a lot of ground because Jenny Duggan on this winner, on the second horse, Big Bonanza, not only had it ran along, but it had got well clear of the others, and you could see very clearly there was nothing coming along the inside, but down the outside in those purpley colours of the winner, it was coming 2 to their 1. and it made up a ton of ground to grab the big bonanza near the line to win by 0.3 of a length. It went absolutely like a rocket, like most of Waller's did today. It was a big performance. He most probably, well, he should have won 6 of the 8 races. A big performance, big performance. Well, that was about the meeting. If you had any, if you're betting there, punting wise, I hope you had some luck. It was very hard to win there, captain, being a captain. Very little section about at the moment. There were 11 bookies on the fence today. Very strong ring, Sydney ring. 11 captains on the fence, and there were 5 of us in the outside ring. And you can back a runner for plenty of cash there, but I don't think there are very many punters betting at the moment. We need our leading pro to come back. I've heard a few reports. They say he's on the mend, and he generates a lot of turnover for everybody. So I hope all's well, and he makes a speedy recovery, and as well as all, and hopefully all the other pros keep on betting as well. But we need our #1 pro. We all know who I'm talking about. We need him back. So and hopefully he does make a comeback shortly and starts to back a few winners. Good evening.